So, guys, if you still believe that old myth, that old story about retirement, that you have to wait till age 65 and have a couple million saved up, well, that can actually cost you your freedom, your health, and the years that you still have energy to enjoy your life.
Think about this. Most people spend 40 years planning for the magic finish line, and by the time they cross it, they're exhausted or sick or worse, gone before they ever got to enjoy it. That's not retirement. That's a tragedy.
But here's the truth, you don't have to play by that broken script. We have found another way. Retirement does not have to be a number, it doesn't have to be an age, and it definitely does not have to be boring.
Welcome to Smart Retirement Abroad. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Ella, and we are here to help you retire not just someday, but smarter and actually sooner. We want to break the chains of that myth that keeps so many people stuck.
For us, the wake up call came during COVID. Now we're in our 50s and we have walked the phases of planning our retirement, both versions. One for the US and the one we desire more, retiring abroad. We are launching our last two kids into adulthood. We have bought homes, increased our investments and savings. We are not rich, but we're fine. And that word fine, it's the most dangerous word in the English language, don't you think? Because fine is how you wake up at 70 wondering where your life went. So one night I looked at my wife and said, is this really it? Another decade of work, bills, commutes, falling asleep on the couch. Then at 65, you're supposed to start enjoying life if we're still healthy. Felt like a scam.
Yeah, it does. And I said, oh, well, I guess that's the system. You just work until 65. That's all we know. And you looked at me and I dropped the line that changed the way I had looked at retirement.
Yep. I said, do you want to retire at 65 or expire at 65?
Damn. Well, that did sting, but you were right. That was our pivoting point, though. So from then on, then we started researching not just the financial side, but the lifestyle, the healthcare options, the community, the joy. And what we discovered actually shocked us. The myths that we believed were wrong. They were designed to keep us trapped and keep working till age 65 or even older.
And today we're busting them open. If you've ever felt that tug saying there has to be more, hit the subscribe because what you're hearing in these series might just change your life. Myth number one, you need millions to retire. This one is so baked in, most of us never even question it.
No, only the calculator of doom.
Hmm.
You know the one. You put in your numbers and it says, well, congrats, you will arrive, but hey, past 65, when you have a couple millions or more, 2.3 millions, actually, it's one that I saw by age 65. Well, it makes you close that laptop and go eat a sad frozen pizza then in the end.
Yeah, I've been there. It almost feels like those online tools are practically designed to depress you. Because when you feel hopeless, you gotta keep grinding, you gotta keep feeding more money into Wall Street. And you never question the system saying, give me more, give me more.
But here's the truth. Retirement is not about hitting some giant, scary number. It's about
Right.
cash flow and you can play with geography. So we could simply put it geo arbitrage.
Example, Seattle suburbia. Not within the city of Seattle, mind you, because we'd be talking about a much higher expense. So in suburbia, $4,500 a month barely covers rent, groceries, and insurance. But in southern Portugal, for example, that same 45 buys you a 2-bedroom apartment near the water, private doctors, fresh food from the market, and dinner maybe 3-4 times a week.
That's right. And in Mexico, couples are living beautifully on just 2,000, 2,500 a month. And they're not scraping by. They are actually thriving. Safe neighborhoods, affordable healthcare, and enough left over to travel more or invite families over.
The feast we had in Tirana, Albania, fresh salad, gyros, and drinks are less than the price of 2 Starbucks lattes in the US.
That's right. And then you tip like an American and probably covered the tips for all the tables that were there.
I was generous, but I'm learning to be more cautious about tipping in Europe over time. But the dinner proved the point.
Yeah.
Retirement isn't about millions, it's about where and how you live.
So here's the number that blew me away. In the US, the average retiree spends about $4,000 a month. But in Portugal, for example, it's closer to 1,800. And that is not just saving money, that is buying your freedom back.
Crazy part, people spend their lives stressed about the 2 million finish line. And the truth is, with smart planning, you can live well on a fraction of that abroad. Pause for a moment. What do you spend each month right now? Imagine cutting that in half and doubling your quality of life. Where would you be? What would you be doing?
Guys, if this already challenges what you have been told, hit like and subscribe. And you can enter in the comments, show me, and we will send you a breakdown of cost of living abroad. Well, myth number two is that you have to wait until you're age 65. Well, this one makes me the angriest. It steals away all the youth of your older years.
That is actually totally made up. It was set decades ago when life expectancy was about 70. So the system basically said, work your whole life. Maybe, if you're lucky, you'll get 2 or 3 years at the end.
Oh, that is an inspiring plan, huh? Thanks for nothing.
Yeah, but people still cling to it. And here's the tragedy: if you wait, you waste your go go years.
Yes, your go-go years are your 50s and your 60s when you still got health, energy, and curiosity. And then the slow-go years come later, and you end up going more frequently to the doctor. You end up having less stamina. And then the no-go years, when, well, you know what that means. You basically are spending a whole lot more time at the doctor than ever, and the life is at a much slower pace. It is much harder to do all those stairs and cobblestone walking in Europe or, let's say, Mexico or somewhere else.
So ask yourself, do you want your go go years spent sitting in traffic or hitting the cliffs of Portugal, perhaps exploring the caves of Albania, or hiking the trails that connect the Cinque Terre in Italy? All that's needed is stamina, baby.
How often do you hear of people working until age 67? They are always saying, someday we will travel more. Retirement comes, and then bam, an illness hits, and energy goes way down. You never got to take that trip. The bucket list stays in the bucket.
Meanwhile, you hear people retiring early in Mexico, Portugal, Greece, perhaps Thailand, and other low cost countries. They don't need as much as we do here to live the lifestyle they want in the US. Now they're kayaking, hiking, making memories. There's two very different choices, and of course, two completely different outcomes.
Yeah, and they have found a way around on how to see their families more often, either by inviting them over to where they're at or by flying to the US and spending time with them. And yeah, as you said, there's two very different outcomes when you make different choices.
When you said you'd have to work until 67,
Yeah, and you basically threatened to retire without me.
yep, I wasn't kidding.
Fair enough.
Think about this. The retirement age of 65 was invented by Germany in the late 1800s, and most workers didn't even make it to that age. It was never about giving you freedom. It was about controlling the system. Productivity over quality of life. I think it's well overrated.
It is overrated. Retirement is not about an age, it's about designing freedom when you can still enjoy it. The system will not hand it to you. You have to take it.
That's
Find a
right.
way.
Number three. Yeah, don't you worry. Medicare has got you covered.
Oh, yeah, I wish, but the truth, Medicare is like your whole going to a buffet style spread, whereas it's more like a very minimal menu with a lot of fine print where the fries, the salad, and the drink are not even included.
Medicare doesn't cover dental, doesn't cover vision, doesn't cover long-term health care. That can be very expensive. And the gaps, they're not little at all.
No, no, no.
The kinds that send families even into bankruptcy sometimes and puts financial and practical day-to-day burdens on your children as well.
Yeah. So let's just put it plainly in numbers now. The average nursing home in the US costs about a minimum of 7,000 a month. Somewhat actually between 7,000 to 9,000 a month on average. And that folks is the cost per month. Per month. Can you believe it? That is like buying a used car every single month until your savings poof out, vanish. And then you'd hope that Medicaid kicks in, and then your choices for care, for better care, diminish dramatically, even more so. Not the prices, and don't ask me why, just looking to be prepared for our future. Then I thought they were joking. Joking or not, the point is that Medicare has its own usage. I don't say drop it. I don't say don't sign up for it, but it just doesn't save you. It's not all be all. And sure enough, it does not pay for the big ticket items of your healthcare. And yet people hinge all their hopes on it.
Big world out there, so let's compare. Where would it be best to live? Portugal, Spain, Thailand, Mexico? The private hospitals abroad are modern, clean, very often have English-speaking doctors or have interpreters available during meetings. Some train in the US or the UK, and the costs, well, the costs are a fraction to what we pay in the US.
Yeah, for example, an MRI in the US, well, at least 3,000. An MRI in Thailand, well, between 200 to 300 depending where you're going. And they hand you the results the same day, and I'm not kidding about that.
That's right. Spain, you'd pay perhaps 250, 300 per month for private insurance. Back in the US, same coverage, 1800, and that doesn't even include dental or vision.
No, it doesn't. So ask yourself, you guys, you'd rather spend your retirement sweating over bills or actually living life and knowing that your health is secure?
If you want us to do a full episode breaking down healthcare abroad, type health in the comments. We'll make it happen.
Yes. Well, if you ever were envisioning that healthcare abroad meant doctors wandering around with rusty scalpels, well, you were wrong.
Find out. Private hospitals in Italy, marble floors, coffee bars. They'll have to dress to the nines just to check in.
Yeah, then let's just make sure that you don't show up in sweatpants and like a real American. That would not be a good start. Well, let's talk about myth number 4. Don't worry, your kids will look after you.
Up to 2 generations ago, it was true. Families lived in the same town. Kids took in their aging parents. That was the system.
But today, kids are juggling so much in their own lives. Still, they're paying student loans until their 40s, trying to stay current with their much more expensive mortgages than what it used to be. They're juggling so much in their careers, their own children, the soccer games, the list goes on. So they're very often spread out in many states
Yep.
and sometimes even living in other countries. You don't get to see them as often to begin with. And the idea that they will easily drop everything to care for you and become that like that smushed meat in the middle of the sandwich, that is not realistic. And honestly, it is really not fair to the kids.
We empathize with people that have had this in the past. It wasn't a choice. But here's the painful truth. When parents rely on kids without a plan, it creates guilt, stress, and resentment, very often on both sides.
Yeah.
That is really not a legacy you want to leave. Flip side, abroad, home care, senior care, it's dignified and much more affordable. A caregiver in the US might cost at a very minimum $6,000 a month. In Mexico, probably $1,200. And the service provided is not no low level. No, it is very compassionate, very respectful, and often with a whole lot more attention to detail.
That is very true. We've heard a lot of stories, and we've also seen when traveling with our parents that in cultures abroad, very often elderly get treated with a lot of
That's
respect.
true.
And do you remember, Kevin, when the kids told us, well, we will take care of you when that time comes? And I said, well, yet you are not sure about what you're signing up for.
That's for sure. Yeah. Imagine trying to, like, perhaps, I don't know, take a nap while your son in law is watching a football game in the next room. Yeah. I don't think I'd like to sign up for that.
That is going to be loud. And you're wanting to take that nap. How's that going to work out? I mean, multi-generational living has its own challenges, and many of us know it. And guys, independence is actually a gift. And most importantly, it is a gift that you don't just give to yourself, but to your kids too. It does free them up to love you without ending up resenting you because of all the burdens that caring for you present into their life. Because those responsibilities, they would have to carry those all at the same time that they are juggling everything else with their own families, with their own spouses. It would really, really be truly a gift if you plan ahead to be independent and to see your kids and the grandkids and their spouses with moments of joy rather than moments of burdens.
Rather visit her as the fun, free parent with stories from your ventures abroad.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That's what we want. We want to be remembered with joy and not stress. And that means planning differently now that we're still in good time. And we empathize with families that are in a situation where it's just too late for the planning. They just have to do it all. And we've been there as well. Living abroad doesn't have to be everybody's cup of tea. After saving a ton of money by living abroad, you can still come back to the US if you wish so and afford the higher cost of living in the US and afford to stay closer to your kids if that is your choice. And then you'd be even more fun to have around when you've saved more money in your go years.
Get to enjoy more of your grandkids and be close to family without having to stress financially. because of the cushion you've created during your go-go years. So you get choices.
Yeah, these are choices we're presenting to you. And then, Kevin, myth number 5. This is a fun one. Retirement means lazing up at the beach, sipping like 4 margaritas at the beach, and just
4.
enjoying. Well, what do you want them to be? Pina coladas?
Now we're talking.
Okay, I do actually prefer those better.
Sounds great. Yeah, but for 2 weeks perhaps, then what? You get restless. You get bored. And studies do back this up. Retirees that do not have a purpose decline faster, mentally, physically, and emotionally.
And that is not doing any good to your liver either. When we talk about purpose, it's not about going back to work. It's about feeling that your life has more meaning. Maybe you volunteer, maybe you mentor, maybe you paint or you garden or start a project. Retirement is not about resting and lazying up and wasting your wonderful years that you remain on earth. It is about rediscovering yourself, what you were meant to be in this new stage of life.
For us, it's this channel volunteering, making an impact on the community where we live. For others, it might be teaching English abroad, starting a hobby perhaps, mentoring young people. The point is, retirement without purpose is just, well, waiting. But for what?
I guess for this movie to end,
Ella, if I left you on a beach with margaritas for 10 years, you'd lose your mind.
I would lose my mind, my life, my liver, my everything. 10 years. I would be just bored out of my mind. I would have to find something for me to do, and I would drag you into it too.
That's true. Purpose. That's what keeps us alive.
And your wife. So, guys, many expats spend their mornings volunteering, doing physical activity, getting involved in local events, and chatting it up for hours with the neighbors, either at the market or at the coffee bar, getting in that chat therapy that you won't even have to pay for. Coffee abroad, usually it's just $2 or less. And you get a life you desire living. And we love that. That is what we mean, just living with purpose and in community.
Your passion project. Drop it in the comments. You might inspire someone who needs to hear your idea.
That's right. Imagine waking up tomorrow with no boss to answer to, not just for a week, but a whole year. And that
Sounds
is your
great.
clue, having to find your retirement purpose. What are you going to do if the work and your boss did not exist anymore? Who's going to tell you what to do in a day? What is going to inspire you to just have joy in your days? Now picture this instead. You wake up to sunlight washing over you as you sit on that balcony in Portugal or elsewhere that strikes your fancy. You walk to the cafe downstairs. The barista knows your name. Fresh espresso, the warm croissant, and it costs less than your gas station coffee back home.
Now you're talking. After breakfast, you stroll into the open air market. Tomatoes that actually taste like tomatoes. Fish caught that morning. Neighbors greet you by name. You see people and you can talk to them if you want. No rush, no traffic.
No meetings like that. You have control over your own time. You can set up your own meetings if you'd like. And here's the kicker. You're not on vacation. This is just simple daily life for you now. Just an ordinary Monday. Imagine the stress melting off your shoulders, not for just 1 week, but forever.
It's not a fantasy. That's the daily reality for thousands of retirees abroad. And the only difference between them and the people still grinding back home, those that took the plunge and moved and stopped believing the myths.
If that scene that you imagined lit something up inside of you, type yes in the comments. We will know then that you're ready to imagine much bigger now. But some say, I have to wait for a better time. People wait for the perfect time. Newsflash, there is no perfect time. The longer you wait, the less freedom you will have left to play with. The time that you are waiting gets to be costly on your own health and your own healthy years span.
What if in 10 years from now, if nothing changes, what does your life look like?
Are you still commuting? Are you still stressed? Are you still waiting for the someday to arrive? Or are you living in a way that makes you excited to wake up in the morning?
That's why we're here. Don't let that waiting for someday idea keep you in chains. No, you can start using your time now to design your retirement plan and be intentional with it.
Exactly. Go ahead in the comments, write the first place that comes to your mind when you imagine freedom. Do not overthink it, just write it. Because naming it is the first step of letting yourself know that you are being intentional and you are taking action. Then a body in motion stays in motion. And we will help you with the planning of this retirement path all along the way.
Let's recap the myths. You need millions. You must wait until 65. Medicare will cover you. Your kids are your retirement equals 5 margaritas a day. These are all lies that keep you working, grinding, and missing the youth of your older years.
Truth, well, retirement is about freedom to choose, about purpose, about designing a life that excites you sooner and not later. Abroad or at home, it is possible if you stop believing these myths.
Go ahead, hit subscribe, hit the like, and share this video with a friend who needs a wake-up call.
Yeah, or send it to your spouse that may need to get a nudge on designing the retirement plan with you. And if you have made it so far in the video, comment freedom. That tells us that you are serious about rewriting your retirement story and are reclaiming the freedom of your years. Guys, until the next time, plan smart, take action, and become part of our actively pursuing freedom kind of people. Join our Facebook group with the same name as our channel, Smart.retirement.abroad, and start hanging out and helping each other in this journey. When you got friends, the path gets easier and clearer.
So check out our other episodes here, as in each of them, there's useful nuggets. You'll find plenty of comparisons with real numbers, stories, and inspiration for your journey into purposeful retirement.
I'm Ella.
And I'm Kevin.
And this is
Smart Retirement Abroad.
So, guys, stay well. See you soon. Ciao, belly.
Adios.
Bye.